Hello and welcome to a simple training video for West Coast Informatics NDC-RXNORM transformer. It's here at https://ndc.terminology.tools. There's a landing page here that describes the tool, some of its features. As you can see from the text here, it's an application that provides an API and user interface for interacting with RXNORM concepts, NDCs, and SPL set IDs. The tool has been loaded with all versions of RXNORM dating back to June 2007, which is the first appearance of NDC data. There's a sample invocation section with handy little links that will automatically perform searches in the user interface for you. There's a sample video, which is this training video. Then there is a description of the REST API with sample curl calls that actually produce relevant results. To use the tool, you simply click Launch Browser at the top, simple user interface with a query field and then some sort of results. So we'll start here by typing in an NDC code, and you can see after a few clicks it brings up an autocomplete list of relevant things matching the code you've typed so far. This is the one that we want though. So we'll type it in here, and you can see in the case of NDC it loads some basic information about it. In the user interface we're looking at the RXNORM history, so you can see the complete time in which this NDC code existed and which RXNORM concepts it was associated with. And then finally there's a list of properties from SPL related to this NDC code that are also loaded directly from the RXNORM data. With this little thing in the upper right hand corner, you can switch this view to look at the actual JSON documents that come back from the API, just as this is a demonstration application. In addition to typing in NDC code, you could simply type in an RXNORM code. We'll do this one here. And in this case you get some information about RXNORM. You can see here that this is actually an obsolete RXNORM concept. And here is the history of the NDCs associated with this RXNORM concept. So these are links, meaning you can click on them and they'll reperform searches. So you can see here that from 351.772, this NDC code was reassigned to a new RXNORM concept, which is a newer version of the concept. So in this way, you can sort of navigate around the history of RXNORM and its relationships with NDC codes and RXNORM concepts. You can also put in an SPL set ID. Here there are links as well. You can search from that perspective as well. And this gives you essentially a paged view of all the NDC codes belonging to this SPL set ID. So here there are two results. You can see this here ends in 01 and then this one in 10. It's a different NDC code. Much of the information is going to be exactly the same. You'll also note that at the end of every SPL set ID or RXNORM concept there's a link. The RXNORM concepts will link out to a view of the concept in BioPortal, and the SPL set IDs link out to the relevant page in DailyMed. There's a basic history mechanism, so you can kind of see which IDs you've looked at. You can page back and forth between them. Also, if you want to look up by drug name, there is a string search enabled, also with autocomplete here. When you perform the search, it looks something up. This is the concept we chose. You don't have to actually choose something from the list. You can just type in simply aspirin and then it finds kind of matches, pages the results, and so on. So it's just a basic little interface for interacting with these things. What this is really doing is showing you that the API in the background is doing something and presenting it in a way that's useful. If you click on this API link here in the header, you'll actually get to a page with Swagger documentation, which in fact tells you everything you need to know about interacting directly with these APIs. Similarly, the curl commands on the landing page will do the same. For a given call, there's a description of the response schema that you get back and the parameters required with sample values. So these you can directly put in here from the examples and then perform the call with this try it out button, and you'll get the corresponding result. So here you can see we have a code that comes back with history. We can also turn off the history and you'll see that it comes back with no history. So that's basically it. This is a little tool to demonstrate a larger technology platform we're working on that we're calling the Transformer. It's a terminology-enabled analytical engine. Take a look at our website, www.westcoastinformatics.com.